I didn't send it immediately. I saved it as a draft. Then I reviewed my employment contract again. Every section, every clause, every paragraph. Section 8. Termination. Either party may terminate this agreement with 60 days written notice. In the event of termination by the company without cause, employee is entitled to severance payment equal to 3 months' base salary plus accrued vacation. I checked my current salary in the system. The reduced amount showed 49,600 euros. But my contract listed the original salary, the one I'd been hired at, the one I'd had for 3 years, 62,000 euros annually. The difference was 12,400 euros per year, just over 1,000 euros per month. I took screenshots of both, the contract showing 62,000, the system showing 49,600, the date of the change, 2 weeks ago, March 15th. Then I opened the company handbook. I downloaded the entire PDF to my personal drive, 312 pages. I searched for compensation. I found it on page 43, section 12.4. Any modification to employee compensation requires written agreement signed by both employee and HR director. Changes become effective only upon execution of amended employment terms. I read it 3 times. Then I searched my email, every folder, every archived message. No written agreement, no signature request, no amended employment terms. Just the notification email from 2 weeks ago, from Linda in HR. Subject: Salary Adjustment Notification. Bridget, effective immediately, your annual salary will be adjusted to 49,600 euros. This is part of a company-wide restructuring to manage costs during our current growth phase. The change will be reflected in your next paycheck. If you have questions, please let me know. Best regards, Linda. That was it. 41 words. No explanation of company-wide. No mention of who else was affected. No request for signature. No attached agreement. I forwarded it to my personal account. Then I created a new folder on my personal drive. Employment Documentation, Amsterdam. I saved everything there. The contract, the screenshots, the handbook, the email. Then I checked the employee directory. I counted the operations team. 12 people reporting to me. I checked their salary bands in the system. I had access as their manager. None of them had changed. Same ranges as last month. Same as 3 months ago. I checked the other department managers. 6 of them. I didn't have direct access to their salaries, but I could see their employment dates and levels. I sent a casual message to 2 of them, people I'd worked with closely. Hey, did you get any communication about salary adjustments recently? Both replied within an hour. No, why? Nothing here. What's up? I didn't elaborate. I just said I was checking on something and thanked them. I documented those conversations too. Screenshots, timestamps, saved to the folder. My team lead knocked on my office door at 10 a.m. Hey, just saw the announcement. I'm really sorry. I had no idea you were leaving. I looked up from my screen. Thanks. Where are you going? Did you get an offer somewhere? I'm not sure yet. Are you going back to consulting or staying in operations? I haven't decided. He shifted his weight. Well, if you need a reference or anything, definitely let me know. You've been great to work with. I appreciate that. He lingered for a moment. Do you know who's taking over the team? I don't. Okay, well, yeah. Let me know if you need anything. He left. 15 minutes later, one of my direct reports stopped by. Junior operations analyst. She'd been with the company for 8 months. Bridget, I just wanted to say I'm sorry you're leaving. I've learned a lot from you. Thank you. Are we going to get to say goodbye properly? Like, is there going to be a team thing? I'm not sure what the plan is yet. Okay, well, I hope wherever you're going appreciates you. She left too. 3 more people stopped by throughout the morning. Similar conversations. Similar surprise. Similar assumption that I'd chosen this. That I'd found something better. That I was moving on to bigger opportunities. I didn't correct any of them. I didn't explain. I just thanked them and kept working. At 2 p.m., HR sent a meeting invitation. Exit discussion. Scheduled for Wednesday at 2 p.m. 2 days away. Attendees: Linda, Bridget. Optional attendees: Marcus. I accepted the invitation without comment. I didn't ask questions. I didn't request clarification. I just clicked accept and went back to reviewing the quarterly operations report. Tuesday morning, I arrived at my usual time, 7:30. The office was mostly empty. I made coffee in the small kitchen. I sat at my desk. I opened my laptop. I continued my normal work. I reviewed operational reports. I checked the metrics dashboard. I responded to team questions in Slack. At 9, I had my regular weekly one-on-one with my team lead. We talked about active projects, about timeline concerns, about resource allocation. He didn't mention my departure. I didn't bring it up. At 11, I had a cross-functional meeting: operations, product, engineering. We discussed the roadmap for Q2. I took notes, I asked questions, I contributed like I always did. No one mentioned that I was supposedly leaving. Maybe they hadn't seen the announcement. Maybe they were being polite. Lunch was at my desk. Salad from the place downstairs. I ate while reviewing documentation. At 2, I had another team meeting. Status updates, blockers, priorities. One of my analysts asked, "Should we be planning for transition? Like, are you going to be here for the Q2 kickoff?" "I'm not sure yet," I said. "Let's continue planning as normal for now." He nodded. The meeting continued. The afternoon passed. No one from leadership spoke to me. Not Daniel, the CEO. Not Marcus, the COO. Not my supposed direct supervisor, though the org chart was ambiguous about that. I documented that. I opened a new document. Leadership Communication Log. I wrote, Monday, March 25th. Company-wide announcement of departure sent by CEO. No prior discussion with employee. Tuesday, March 26th. No communication from CEO, COO, or direct leadership. No explanation provided. No confirmation of timeline or terms. I saved it to the folder. Tuesday evening, after everyone had left, I reviewed the draft email I'd written Monday morning. I read it carefully. I edited it. I made it shorter. I made it clearer. I removed anything that sounded emotional or accusatory. I focused on facts, on contract terms, on procedures. Then I saved it again without sending. I also prepared a second document, a formal notice, just in case. Subject: formal notice, contract violation, and unauthorized announcement. To whom it may concern, this letter serves as formal notice that, The company-wide announcement of March 25th stating my departure was issued without my knowledge, consent, or any prior discussion. I have not resigned from my position as operations manager. I have not submitted any resignation letter or notice of departure. My employment contract, Section 8, requires 60 days written notice for termination by either party. My salary was reduced by 20% effective March 15th, without the written agreement required by company policy. Handbook, Section 12.4. I request immediate clarification of my employment status and restoration of contractual salary. Regards, Bridget Vanderberg. I saved it. I didn't send it. Not yet. I closed my laptop. I went home. Wednesday morning, I arrived at the office at my usual time. I made coffee. I checked my email. Nothing from HR. Nothing from leadership. Just the usual operational emails. System updates, teen questions, client requests. I worked through my morning tasks. I reviewed the metrics from yesterday. I responded to my team. I updated project tracking. At 2 p.m., I joined the video call with HR. The HR director was there. Linda, mid-40s, blonde hair, always wore blazers. She'd been with the company for 18 months, came from a larger tech company, brought professional HR practices to the startup. Bridget, thanks for joining. I wanted to walk through the transition plan for your departure. I waited. I didn't confirm. I didn't object. I just waited. Your last day is Friday. That gives us 2 full days for handover. We'll need you to document all active projects and hand them over to your team by end of day Thursday. IT will collect your laptop and access cards on Friday afternoon at 4. What about my notice period? I asked. She paused. She looked at something off screen. What do you mean? My contract specifies 60 days notice for termination. You resigned. The notice period doesn't apply to resignation. I didn't resign. Silence on her end. She looked confused. The announcement said you're pursuing other opportunities. I didn't write that announcement. I didn't submit a resignation letter. I haven't had any conversation with you, with Daniel, with Marcus, or with anyone about leaving. More silence. She was clearly searching for something on her screen. Let me check on that and get back to you. When? Sorry? When will you get back to me? Today? Tomorrow? I'll check with Daniel and Marcus and follow up by end of day. Thank you. The call ended. I saved the meeting recording. The system automatically recorded all HR calls. I downloaded it to my personal drive. I opened my documentation log. I added, Wednesday, March 27th, 2 p.m. Exit discussion call with HR Director Linda. Informed that last day is Friday. 2 days. Questioned about notice period. HR was unaware employee did not resign. Promised follow-up by end of day. I saved it. Then I went back to work. 3 p.m. No follow-up. 4 p.m. Nothing. 5 p.m. Still nothing. At 5:45, most of the office had emptied. I was still at my desk. I saw Linda leave. She didn't stop by. She didn't send an email. I documented that too. Wednesday, March 27th, 5:45 p.m. HR director left office without providing promised follow-up. I left at 6. Thursday morning, still no response from HR. No email. No calendar invitation. No message in Slack. I checked my email every hour. Nothing. I continued documenting my projects, not because I believed Friday was my last day, but because it was good practice, because I wanted a record of exactly what I'd been working on, what I'd accomplished, what state everything was in. I created detailed handover notes. I organized files in shared drives. I updated status documents. My team asked questions about the transition. Who should we go to if you're not here next week? I'm not sure yet. I'd suggest Marcus for now. Are they hiring someone to replace you? I don't know. This seems really sudden. It does. I stayed professional. I didn't complain. I didn't mention the contract issue. I didn't mention the salary cut. I just answered their questions factually and kept working. Thursday at 11 a.m., my email pinged. From Linda. Subject: follow-up meeting request. Bridget, can you join a call tomorrow, Friday, at 10 a.m. to discuss your employment status? Linda. I stared at it. Employment status. Not departure. Not transition. I replied, yes, I'm available. She sent a calendar invitation immediately. Employment discussion. Attendees: Linda, Marcus, Bridget. I accepted. Thursday afternoon, I reviewed the draft email one more time. I made final edits. I tightened the language. I made sure every point was supported by contract language or company policy. Then I prepared the second document, the formal notice. I refined it. I made it clearer. I saved both. I still didn't send anything. I wanted to see what Friday's meeting brought. Thursday evening, I stayed late. I finished all the handover documentation. I organized everything perfectly. Every project, every contact, every decision that needed to be made. Not because I thought I was leaving, but because I wanted them to see exactly how much work I did, exactly what they'd be losing. I left at 7. The office was empty. Friday morning, I arrived at the office early, 6:45. I was the first one there besides security. I made coffee. I sat at my desk. I reviewed everything one more time. The contract, the salary screenshots, the handbook, the emails, the documentation log. At 10 a.m., I joined the call. Linda was there. So was Marcus, the COO. Late 30s, startup background. Always talked about moving fast and breaking things. Bridget, Marcus said, thanks for joining. There seems to be some confusion about your departure. There's no confusion on my end, I said. Linda mentioned in your meeting on Wednesday that you indicated you didn't resign. That's correct. I didn't resign. I never submitted a resignation letter. I never had a conversation with anyone about leaving. The company announcement on Monday was the first I heard of any of this. He looked at something off screen, probably his other monitor. But you're not planning to stay, are you? I mean, given the situation. What situation? He hesitated. The announcement. The transition plan. The announcement I didn't write? The transition plan I didn't agree to? Right, but he trailed off. My question is simple, I said. Is the company terminating my employment or not? We're not terminating you. We thought you were leaving. Based on what? Linda spoke. There may have been a miscommunication internally. Who communicated that I was resigning? I'd need to check the records. Please do, because I have records showing I never resigned. I never submitted notice. I never had any conversation about departing. Marcus looked uncomfortable. Okay, so if there was a miscommunication and you're not leaving, then I guess we need to discuss you staying. At my contracted salary, I said. He paused. About that, the salary adjustment was part of a company-wide restructuring. I checked with other managers. Their salaries weren't adjusted. That's not accurate. I can provide documentation showing that my salary was the only one in the management team that changed. More silence. Marcus and Linda exchanged a look. Muted conversation I couldn't hear. Let us review this internally, Marcus said. We'll get back to you early next week. Early next week? Today was supposed to be my last day according to Linda's email. Right. Well, given the situation, let's just continue as normal while we review. So I should continue working? Yes. At what salary? We'll clarify that in our follow-up. When exactly will that follow-up happen? Monday or Tuesday. I'd like confirmation in writing. Sure, Linda will send something today. The call ended. I sat there for a moment. Then I opened my email and pulled up the draft I'd been holding since Monday. I made one small edit. Changed by end of business Monday to by end of business Tuesday, April 2nd. Then I sent it. To Marcus, Linda, Daniel. CC, none. Subject: Employment status clarification. Following today's meeting, I want to confirm the following in writing. I have not resigned from my position as operations manager. I did not submit a resignation letter or provide notice of departure. The company-wide announcement on Monday, March 25th was issued without my knowledge, consent, or any prior discussion. My employment contract, Section 8, specifies 60 days written notice for termination and severance terms for termination without cause, 3 months base salary plus accrued vacation. The salary reduction implemented on March 15th was not accompanied by written agreement as required by company policy. Handbook, Section 12.4. Today's meeting indicated I should continue as normal while the situation is reviewed. Please confirm in writing by end of business Tuesday, April 2nd. My current employment status, my current salary, contracted rate of 62,000 euros, or reduced rate of 49,600 euros. Expected timeline for resolution. I appreciate your prompt attention to this matter. Regards, Bridget Vanderberg. I read it once more. Then I clicked send. I immediately forwarded a copy to my personal email. Then I sat back and waited. 20 minutes later, Linda replied. From Linda. To Bridget. CC Marcus. Bridget, confirmed that you should continue in your current role while we review the situation. We'll follow up by Tuesday, April 2nd, with clarification on the points you raised. Linda. Not a full answer, but an acknowledgement. A timeline. I replied, "Thank you for confirming." Then I went to lunch. Friday afternoon, no further communication. IT didn't come to collect my laptop. No one mentioned my departure. I worked until 5, then I left. The weekend passed slowly. I didn't check my work email. I didn't think about the office. I went for long walks. I read. I cleaned my apartment. I didn't tell anyone what was happening. Not my friends, not my family. Just my partner, and only the basic facts. They announced I was leaving. I didn't resign. Now they're reviewing the situation. He asked if I needed anything. I said no. I just needed to wait. Monday morning, I logged in at my usual time, 7:30. My access was still active. My laptop still worked. My email still functioned. I checked my inbox. Nothing from HR. Nothing from Marcus. Nothing from Daniel. I worked through my normal Monday routine. Team check-ins, priority review, weekly planning. At 11 a.m., I received an email from Daniel, the CEO. Subject: Re-employment status clarification. Bridget, thank you for your patience. We're reviewing the situation with our legal counsel. HR will schedule a meeting this week to discuss next steps. Continue with your current responsibilities in the meantime. Daniel. Legal counsel. That was new. That meant they were taking it seriously. I replied, "Thank you for the update." Then I documented it in my log. Monday, March 31st, 11 a.m. CEO confirms legal counsel is reviewing the situation. Meeting to be scheduled this week. The day continued. No meeting invitation arrived. Tuesday morning, still nothing. I worked. I waited. Tuesday afternoon, my team lead stopped by my desk. "Hey, so what's going on? Are you staying or leaving?" "I'm waiting for confirmation from leadership. The announcement said you were leaving Friday, but you're still here." "I am." "So you're not leaving?" "That's being discussed." He looked confused. "Okay, well, good, I guess. We need you." He walked away. I added it to my documentation. Team members expressing confusion about employment status. Wednesday morning, an email arrived from Linda. Subject: Employment Review Meeting. Bridget, can you join a call on Thursday at 3 p.m.? We'd like to discuss your employment situation. Attendees will include myself, Marcus, Daniel, and our employment counsel, Catherine. Please confirm availability. Linda. Employment counsel. A name. Catherine. This was escalating. I confirmed. Yes, I'm available. The invitation came through. Employment Review Meeting. Thursday, 3 p.m. 4 attendees plus me. This would be different from the previous calls. I spent Wednesday evening preparing. I reviewed all my documentation. I organized it in a clear folder structure. Contract, handbook, screenshots, emails, timeline. I didn't rehearse what I'd say. I just made sure I had all the facts ready. Thursday at 3 p.m., I joined the call. Linda was there. Marcus was there. Daniel was there. And a new person. A woman in her 50s. Professional. Serious expression. Bridget, this is Catherine, Daniel said. She's our employment counsel. We've asked her to review your situation. Catherine spoke. Her voice was measured, professional. Hello, Bridget. I've reviewed your employment contract and the recent communications. I have some questions to clarify the facts. Go ahead. First, you stated that you did not resign from your position. Is that still accurate? Yes, that's accurate. You never submitted a written resignation. Correct. You never had a verbal conversation with anyone in leadership about resigning. Correct. And the first you learned of the departure announcement was when it was sent to the company on Monday, March 25th. Correct. She made notes. I could hear her typing. Second question. You indicated you're willing to continue in your current role. Is that still accurate? At my contracted salary, yes. The salary listed in your employment contract is 62,000 euros annually. Is that correct? Yes. And your salary was reduced to 49,600 euros on March 15th. Is that correct? Yes. Did you sign any documentation agreeing to that change? No. Did you receive written notice of the change prior to its implementation? I received an email notification on March 15th, but no formal written agreement, no request for signature, no amended employment contract. More typing, more notes. Third question. Did the email notification provide any explanation for the salary reduction? It stated it was part of a company-wide restructuring. Did you verify whether other employees' salaries were also reduced? Yes. I checked with other managers in my peer group. None of their salaries had changed. How did you verify this? I asked 2 department managers directly if they'd received any communication about salary adjustments. Both said no. I also have system access to view my direct reports' salary bands, and none of those had changed. Catherine paused. And you have documentation of these inquiries? Yes. Screenshots of the conversations and the salary system. Long pause. More typing. Final question. Regarding the departure announcement, do you have any knowledge of how or why it was issued? No. I received no prior communication, no discussion, no explanation. Have you received any explanation since the announcement? No. Only that there may have been a miscommunication. Who communicated that to you? Linda, during our meeting on Friday, March 29th. Catherine made more notes. Then she looked directly at the camera. Thank you, Bridget. I'll need to review this further with the executive team and provide recommendations. We'll follow up with you early next week. Daniel spoke. Bridget, we appreciate your patience with this process. We want to handle this appropriately. I appreciate that, I said. The call ended. I saved the recording. I updated my documentation log. Then I went back to work. The following Monday, April 8th, I received an email from Catherine. Subject: Employment Terms Discussion. Bridget, after reviewing your employment contract and the relevant documentation, we'd like to discuss a path forward. Can you meet tomorrow, Tuesday, April 9th, at 2 p.m.? This will be a one-on-one discussion between you and me. Catherine, one-on-one. No Linda, no Marcus, no Daniel. Just the lawyer. I confirmed. Yes, I'm available. Tuesday at 2 p.m., I joined the call. Catherine was there alone. Professional background. Law degrees visible on her wall. Bridget, thank you for joining. I've completed my review of your situation. I want to be direct with you. Please, the salary reduction was implemented improperly. Company policy requires written agreement for compensation changes. That didn't happen. The reduction should not have been implemented without your signature on amended employment terms. I waited. The departure announcement was issued based on incorrect information. Linda was told by someone in leadership that you were resigning. She drafted the announcement based on that information, but there's no record of you actually resigning. Who told Linda I was resigning? I'm not at liberty to share internal communications, but the relevant parties have been addressed. Okay. Given these findings, the company is prepared to offer the following: reinstatement to your original salary of 62,000 euros annually, retroactive payment for the salary reduction period from March 15th to present. That's approximately 4,000 euros. And continuation in your current role as operations manager. I let that sit for a moment. What about the announcement? We can issue a correction to the company. Clarify that the previous announcement was sent in error and that you're continuing in your role. I thought about that. About another company-wide email. About explaining to everyone that it was a mistake. About the questions that would follow. About continuing to work under the same COO who'd questioned whether I was staying. About reporting to the same HR director who'd implemented an improper salary cut. About working for the same CEO who'd signed off on an announcement without checking with me first. I'd like to see the offer in writing before I respond, I said. Of course, I'll send it this afternoon. Thank you. The call ended. 3 hours later, the offer arrived. Professional letterhead, clear terms. Reinstatement to 62,000 euros annually, effective immediately. Retroactive payment of 4,133 euros, the difference between contracted and reduced salary for the 24-day period. Continuation in current role and responsibilities. And then, Section 7. Employee agrees to release and waive any claims related to the salary adjustment period and departure announcement, and agrees to maintain confidentiality regarding the circumstances of this resolution and not discuss these matters with other employees or external parties. I read Section 7 3 times. Release of claims. Confidentiality. Can't discuss with employees or external parties. They wanted me to pretend it never happened, to accept the back pay and stay quiet. I opened a new document. I didn't respond to the offer. Not yet. I spent the evening thinking about what I wanted, about what made sense. I could accept, go back to my full salary, get 4,000 euros, keep working. But then what? Keep working for people who'd cut my salary without proper process, who'd announced my departure without asking, who'd only corrected course when I pushed back with documentation. Or I could decline. But then what? Look for a new job? Hope they didn't contest unemployment? Or I could propose something else. Wednesday morning, I sent my response. Subject: Re-employment terms discussion. Catherine, thank you for the offer. I've reviewed it carefully. I'd like to propose alternative terms that I believe would be more appropriate given the circumstances. Salary reinstatement and retroactive payment as stated. In lieu of continued employment, mutual agreement to part ways with severance as specified in Section 8 of my employment contract. 3 months base salary at the contracted rate 62,000 euros, plus accrued vacation time 15 days. Neutral reference letter, pre-agreed and provided in writing. No release of claims or confidentiality restrictions beyond standard mutual non-disparagement. This would allow both parties to move forward professionally and avoid ongoing complications from the recent situation. Please let me know if this is acceptable to the company. Regards, Bridget. I sent it. Then I forwarded it to my personal email. Then I waited. Thursday passed. No response. Friday morning, still nothing. Friday afternoon, I received a reply. From Catherine. Subject: Re-employment terms discussion. Bridget, I've discussed your proposal with leadership. They would strongly prefer to retain you in your current role. However, they understand your position. We're willing to discuss separation terms. Can we meet Monday to finalize details? Catherine. I confirmed. Yes, I'm available Monday. The weekend felt different, lighter. The decision was made. I wasn't going back. I was negotiating the exit. Monday, April 15th at 2 p.m., I joined the call. Catherine was there. Marcus was there. Bridget, Catherine began, we've reviewed your proposal carefully. We're prepared to agree to separation with Severance. Here's what we can offer. She shared her screen. A draft separation agreement. 3 months base salary at your contracted rate of 62,000. That's 15,500 euros. Plus your accrued vacation time of 15 days, which is approximately 3,000 euros. Total of 18,500 euros. I did the math. That was right. We'll also provide the neutral reference letter as you requested. We'll draft it and you can approve the language before signing. What about the confidentiality terms? I asked. We need mutual non-disparagement. You agree not to make negative public statements about the company or its personnel. We agree to the same regarding you. But we won't restrict you from discussing factual employment matters in appropriate contexts. Define appropriate contexts. Conversations with potential employers, professional references, legal proceedings if necessary, but not social media posts about the situation, not detailed discussions with current employees about what happened. I thought about it. That seemed reasonable. I wasn't planning to post about it on LinkedIn anyway, and I didn't plan to stay in touch with current employees. What's the timeline? I asked. We'd like to finalize the agreement this week. Your last day would be April 30th. That gives you 2 weeks for proper handover. And the reference letter? I'll send you a draft tomorrow. You can review and suggest edits. We'll finalize it before you sign the separation agreement. What about the severance payment? Within 30 days of your last day, so by end of May. Marcus spoke for the first time. Bridget, I want to say that we appreciate how you've handled this situation. You've been professional throughout. We'd honestly prefer if you stayed, but we understand if you've lost trust in the process here. I didn't respond to that. I just said, I'll wait for the reference letter draft. You'll have it tomorrow, Catherine confirmed. The call ended. Tuesday morning, the draft reference letter arrived. To whom it may concern. This letter is to confirm that Bridget Vanderberg was employed as operations manager from June 2021 to April 2024. During her tenure, Bridget was responsible for overseeing operational processes, managing a team of 12 employees, and implementing systems to support the company's growth from Series A to Series B funding stages. Bridget demonstrated strong organizational skills, attention to detail, and the ability to work effectively in a fast-paced startup environment. She successfully led several process improvement initiatives and built operational frameworks that supported the company's scaling efforts. Bridget is leaving the company by mutual agreement to pursue other opportunities. We wish her success in her future endeavors. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Sincerely, Daniel, CEO. I read it carefully. It was neutral, professional. It didn't raise any red flags. It didn't say anything negative. It confirmed my role, my responsibilities, my tenure. The phrase, by mutual agreement, was accurate. We had mutually agreed to the separation, even if the circumstances leading to it were problematic. I replied to Catherine. The reference letter is acceptable. Wednesday, the full separation agreement arrived. 9 pages. I read every clause, every provision, every subpoint. Section 1, Separation Terms. Last day, April 30th, 2024. Section 2, Severance Payment. 18,500 euros. 15,500 euros base severance plus 3,000 euros accrued vacation. Payment by May 31st, 2024. Section 3, Benefits. Continuation of health insurance through April 30. COBRA equivalent options for continuation beyond that date at employee expense. Section 4. Return of company property. Laptop, access cards, any company documents to be returned on or before April 30th. Section 5. Neutral reference. Attached letter to be provided upon request from potential employers. Section 6. Non-disparagement. Mutual. Neither party will make negative public statements about the other. Section 7. Confidentiality. The specific terms of this agreement and the circumstances leading to separation will not be discussed publicly or on social media. Factual employment information may be shared with potential employers or in legal proceedings. Section 8. Release of claims. Standard legal language. I release any claims against the company. They release any claims against me. Section 9. Governing law. Netherlands employment law applies. I reviewed it with a lawyer. A friend's recommendation. Employment law specialist. She read it thoroughly. "This is fair," she said. "The severance is appropriate given your contract terms. The non-disparagement is mutual, which is good. The confidentiality is limited to the agreement itself, not general employment facts. The reference letter is neutral and professional." So I should sign? From a legal standpoint, yes. But that's your decision, based on what you want. I thought about it. About 18,000 euros, about a neutral reference, about walking away cleanly, about not having to work under leadership that had mishandled this so badly. Friday morning, April 19th, I signed the agreement. I scanned it. I sent it back to Catherine. "Agreement signed and returned. Thank you for working through this professionally." She replied within an hour. "Thank you, Bridget. The company has countersigned. You'll receive a copy for your records. Please let us know if you need anything during the transition period." Monday morning, April 22nd, the company sent out another email from Daniel. Subject: Update on Bridget's departure team. I want to clarify a previous communication regarding Bridget Vanderberg's departure. Bridget is leaving the company by mutual agreement to pursue other opportunities. Her last day will be April 30th, 2024. Bridget has been instrumental in building our operations function, and we appreciate her contributions over the past 3 years. Please join me in wishing her success in her next chapter. We'll share information about the transition plan for the operations team later this week. Best, Daniel. I read it at my desk. The correction, the clarification, the acknowledgement. I didn't respond. I just sent a brief message to my team. "Hi, team. As you've seen from Daniel's email, I'll be leaving at the end of April. I'm happy to answer any questions and will make sure everything is properly transitioned over the next 2 weeks. It's been great working with all of you." The responses came quickly. People expressing surprise, disappointment, best wishes, normal stuff. I spent the next week and a half doing proper handover, detailed documentation, knowledge transfer sessions, one-on-ones with each team member. I worked professionally. I stayed late when needed. I answered every question thoroughly. No one asked about the previous announcement. No one mentioned the confusion. They just accepted the new timeline and moved on. On April 26th, the severance payment appeared in my bank account. Early, 5 days before my last day. 18,500 euros. I transferred it immediately to my savings account. I didn't celebrate. I didn't tell anyone except my partner. "It's done," I said. "How do you feel?" Quiet. I updated my resume. I activated my LinkedIn profile to show I was open to opportunities. I reached out to 3 contacts for informational interviews. All 3 responded within a day. All 3 wanted to meet. My last day, April 30th, arrived. I completed the final handover items. I organized all my files one last time. I attended a small team lunch. Casual. Pizza. People said nice things. You'll be missed. Good luck with whatever's next. Stay in touch. I smiled. I thanked them. I said I would. At 4 p.m., I handed my laptop and access card to IT. I packed my few personal items from my desk: a plant, a notebook, a coffee mug. I walked out of the building for the last time. It was raining lightly. Typical Amsterdam spring. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel victorious. I felt quiet. Because the revenge wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a confrontation. It wasn't a public exposure. It was reading my contract carefully, documenting everything, refusing to accept their version of events, making them acknowledge the error, making them pay severance for a departure they'd announced without cause. 6 weeks later, I accepted a new position, operations director at a growing tech company, 60 employees, Series B funded, based in Amsterdam but remote friendly. The salary was 87,000 euros, 40% more than my original contracted salary at the startup. I started on June 10th. The CEO and I had coffee on my first day. She walked me through the vision, the team, the challenges. We're building something sustainable here, she said. Not just fast growth for growth's sake. We want to do it right. I appreciated that. On my second day, she handed me my employment contract. I read every clause, every section, every provision. I asked 3 questions about termination terms, about the notice period, about how compensation changes were handled. She answered clearly, openly. Any compensation changes require your written approval. We can propose adjustments, but you'd need to sign off. And we have a 60-day notice period both ways. If we need to make changes, we talk about it first. I nodded. That's clear. Thank you. She seemed slightly surprised by the level of detail in my questions, but she didn't comment on it. I signed the contract. I started the work. The first month was good. Clear communication, transparent processes, regular one-on-ones with leadership, everything that had been missing at the startup. 3 months in, I got a LinkedIn message from one of my former team leads at the Amsterdam startup. Hey, Bridget. Hope you're doing well at the new place. I wanted to reach out because things have been a bit chaotic here since you left. The new operations manager they hired only lasted 6 weeks. Linda in HR resigned last month, and Marcus is leaving next quarter. Daniel asked me if I thought you might consider coming back. They're willing to talk about terms. Better terms, he said. Thought I'd pass that along. No pressure either way. I read it twice. I thought about the announcement, the salary cut, the meetings, the negotiations. I thought about documentation, about contract clauses, about standing up for proper process. Then I archived the message without responding. There was nothing to say. They'd announced my exit. I'd announced the consequences. The rest was just documentation.